Along the way, you're going to come across, if you haven't done so, what is called the 3 basic laws of dialectics. I'm not going to talk about them. I want to talk about one. This law speaks to negation of negation. Now, to negate is to rebuff, is to reject, is to kick out. So the law simply says things negate one another. That's the law of dialectics. One of the laws of dialectics. There are 3, basically. But this law, when you unravel and unbundle it, it says to us, the new will always rise and take over from the old as a matter of mass. Whether you like it or not, the new will always rise and take over from the old. But it doesn't end there. The law then says, for the new to rise and take over from the old, the new must learn to inherit all the good things that were done by the old and rebuff all the negative ones, negate them. And it also doesn't end there. It goes further to say, the new must always learn to know that the old will never give in willy-nilly. It will resist. That's what the law says, not me. But the law then says, depending on the balance of forces and the alignment of class forces, let me simplify, depending on cordiality or any form of contradiction, the new must always prove itself to be ready to soldier all. And in order for the new to be able to do so, it must acquire the necessary skills and knowledge. That's what the law says, not me. It's a fair law, eh? So I'm standing here belonging to a particular generation. I'm the old, and I'm facing the new, and I'm challenging you, and I'm saying to you, just know that at some point or another, you shall have to take over and be running us. And I want to make sure that by the time you run me, I'm not going to resist like the many old that resist. I'm going to give in because I would have trust that you are actually the best in terms of taking over the processes.
Be a young leader. How can a young leader exercise his or her full autonomy while being attached to a mother body political party, if such is possible?
I see. No, look, you want to be independent politically. You are attached to a mother body somewhere, eh?
This is basically to like specify and give more detail.
No, I know. There are parties that have got their own youth leagues, for instance, their women's league, and then those are autonomous, but attached, of course, autonomous but not independent from the mother body. The reality is a party sells a policy, and that policy affects each member of that party, young and old. But in order to make sure that people play their critical role, political parties will always consider generation to say, at this level, for instance, the language that I can reach you, what I know. I can stand up, sing and dance my piano and choose those songs that I know are relevant to pass a message so that you should be able to understand that I do understand what is it that you guys like. But I might be the only one in my generation. Other generations are too keen to look into policies by reading them well. But I've just communicated a lot of policies to you using either animation, or quoting individuals. You get the point. Now, your generation, it's a generation that goes to Cubana, to Capello, and elsewhere. But you are a generation that, if you are conscious enough, when you go to Capello and all those places, you must begin to sell songs, dances, and activities that relate to change, Now, for the political party to reach that generation, it will then create a sector in that space. Remember, the policy is one, party is one, but it has to understand that there are different sectors in society. So it will then create those kind of leaks. So your autonomy goes insofar as how do you, in your process of reaching out, organize yourself. And then what are those new things that you need to bring in order to renew the party all the time? Because remember, I did not say it for the sake of saying that the new will always rise and take over from the old. Okay? I did not say it out of vacuum. It's because when the party creates those structures, it is conscious of the fact that even though the old might want to resist, but it's on its way out, the new must come in.
But once you are there, if you reign under a political party, now you become suppressed because it's you that they voted for, the students. But now they don't understand the dynamics of when you have to take a decision. Obviously, they won't tell this to the student community, but they have to go consult their mother body or whoever is a representative of their mother body.
No, then let me, because now I know you are, I can tell where you are, but let me just show you. Yeah? There is a constitution that governs you even at that level. You don't do as you wish. Yeah? You follow the prescript of what the constitution of the student does say. Even when you belong to a political party, there is a constitution there. You will follow those prescripts of that political party. But that does not take away that you cannot be elected as the leader of that youth league or youth whatever of that particular party. Because people often are not should. I'm not saying they are. Because lately I realize baboons even becomes leaders. But people must be chosen according to ability. The ability to lead. And the ability is not a born. You are not born a leader. It's wrong for people to think that people are born leaders. Material conditions dictate your outlook. And out of your outlook, you have the edge to make a difference. And in the process of making a difference, that's when leadership begins to subsume and assume you, and then you grow into it. You don't just become a leader who has so house in favor. Just as you have the will of the people, unfortunately. The people have spoken. And I think this time around, the people would want to see what is best that can work for them. And I can promise you, if the GNU will work for the people of South Africa, I think that will be the pattern. But if the GNU does not yield results, they will have to revert to choosing whatever party they think will take them forward. It's all about a better tomorrow. Now, I belong to, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Okay? That no government can justly claim authority unless it is based on the will of the people. I belong there. The long and short is that I'm non-racial, I'm democratic. But I do not want to be oblivious of the previous divide, which still has impacts. The impact of it, you can still feel it today. Okay? But remember, we are now at a point where the power of deciding where the destiny of the country would go to is determined through a ballot box. So let's accuse those that conducted themselves otherwise, if you don't like the GNU, to say maybe next time they must vote and vote wiser if they did not vote wiser this time. But for now, there's little we can do. Now, I know the niche is going to be, why didn't the other political parties join into ensuring that they bring the balance in the GNU? I think the ratio that you find there is based on the parties that participated. But other parties chose not to. Now, it is also their right. Unfortunately, democracy operates that way. But in a revolution, we need to be very disciplined.
Because the revolution is not about you and me. It's literally also about liberating the most hated one. You know that? The most person who frustrated you yesterday, your business as a liberator and a revolutionary, is to change that person into a human being if it was an animal-like behavior, and convert them into being part of society, because in a society normal enough and revolutionary is that you limit the enemy. So you work with whoever you have to in order to create a better tomorrow. Does it make sense? It does, man. But it's a difficult one because now you've got the energy of being radical. And my business is to harness that energy. I don't want to suppress it, I'm harnessing. You must understand there is a distinction between suppressing and harnessing. Guess who want to?
Thank you very much, Head of Department, Dumela, Executive Mayor. I don't know if I'll be a party pooper, but you know, when we were called here, we were called to reflect on the state of the nation. And hey, Chairman of the session, I'm not taking your job away from you, but we're deviating from that. And I'm raising this particularly because I feel like there are serious issues that we need to deal with. And it is not every day when we're sitting in the same room, breathing the same air with an executive mayor. And it is very crucial that at some point we need to ask him questions. We need to go to the content of his governance, because we live within his jurisdiction. So I just wanted us to go to we prepared a lot of things, but I think we were expecting the MEC and the Premier, so we'll have to just
But paint me with those that you think affect.
yes, no, that's where I'm going. You know, there's a few issues, but let me start with this one. There is a issue of safety within student communities within your jurisdiction. Last year there was a very unfortunate incident that trended all over the country, but that was just a highlight, and that is just one unique moment out of many. There's been times where there's kidnappings, robberies, and murders of students within these areas. But I've never seen even a mere statement from the government that you lead to show that you are involved with the students that live within your jurisdiction. So my question is, what is it that your government and the government that you've got the honor to lead doing to ensure that, I think the University of the Free State houses about 20-something thousand students here at the main campus of the Free State. Now, that is a big number of young people that there is a threat to their livelihoods that perhaps the government must respond to. There is also an issue of accommodation. I know you touched a bit on it, but you know, for me to live in an NSFAS accredited accommodation, that private accommodation owner or service provider, for them to receive accreditation, they must have gone through the municipality first to approve that it's in a good condition, and I think they call it zoning certificates and all that. But you go into these accommodations and you ask yourself that, how did the municipality approve such a house to say, yes, you can generate profit out of it, where it is dilapidating and there's no dignity within it at all. Now that is what I'm saying. I just wanted us to just narrow the issues so that we can not touch on rhetoric too much, but the content of what is it, the plight of the student right now. Thank you very much.
I need to talk. You are on point. Much as the Free State is safer when it comes to a number of cities developed in the country. Much as it's more or less safer. But that safety is not guaranteed because some of the things that you are mentioning do happen. That invite the relationship between us, the institution, and you, the student. Because, each time when each one of us is actually at his own occupation, we hardly know what's happening to each other. So, one thing that I can acknowledge and take from you as a take home is that we need to have a forum where we must be informed. Today I came here, I was interviewed by one vibrant radio of your institution. I normally would listen to the radio when I'm driving. Today I was part of it. And they come to know it's a little pondoki of a thing and then but it reaches far. But I'm trying to say that we need to create those platforms where we actually talk to one another. So I agree that there are certain things that you may realize that they happen, we may not know and we may not comment. We may know, news are actually on point. When it has happened over days, it gets overtaken by other events. But the metro does not have metro police. We don't. We rely entirely on the South African police in terms of crime prevention for now. We're working towards establishing the metro police. When I was standing there and addressing, I was saying there are setbacks that we suffered in the process of, our democratic build-up. And some of them were by design, others were by default. So yes, we need to have that policing that would reach all corridors